Hey y'all, I decided that since I was by myself in the kitchen today and I was going to make 2 or 3 batches of Rice Krispie treats, I thought I would let you all know what I was doing. And so I've got me a heavy saucepan and I've got it on the burner, and I'll turn that down in just a minute. And on these Rice Krispie treats, all you need is that pot. You need 3 ingredients, and a half a stick of butter goes in your pot. So you want to melt that butter. I put it on high heat to get it started, and then I turn it down a little bit. And every once in a while, I know I'll have my back to you, but I wanted to do this just to see how it would turn out. A lot of people have asked me about the Rice Krispie treats, and I thought I would just share that with you. While that butter is melting, I want to let you know that you put a half a stick of butter in there and let it melt down. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add 10 ounces of miniature marshmallows, or if you've got the large marshmallows, it'll be 40 marshmallows. Count them out. It's exactly 40. But I can tell you, a long time ago, I had these really great Pampered Chef. There's a small one and a large one bowls. And so if you take the small bowl that really is just a 4-cup capacity, it says, but if you take your marshmallows and you fill it all the way to the top like that, then that is your 10 ounces of miniature marshmallows. And then you need 1/3 of a cup of peanut butter, and we like the peanut butter really well, and so I put just a little bit more peanut butter. Now if you've got somebody with a peanut allergy, or if you're giving these away as treats, be sure and let them know that it's got peanut butter. But I don't like just the plain. Let me get my spoon. Hang on, I'm gonna have to stir my butter, and like I said, I'm gonna turn my back on you every now and then. I don't want my butter to get brown or melt or whatever, or get too hot. I get too excited. But anyway, you're going to put 1/3 of a cup of peanut butter on here. And then 5 cups of Rice Krispies. And this is the larger one. And of course you can measure that out, 5 cups of Rice Krispies. And so we're going to add this. Let me just turn you down a little bit. And you can see that I'm going to add to the pot all of my marshmallows. And we're going to let them melt. Now, I like to let them sit in there for just a minute because I want them to get good and hot. So while that is taking place, then I've got I know you can't see me, but that's okay. You don't need to see me. Then you need to get you a pan, and usually I do this ahead of time, but I take a big casserole dish and I butter it real good. You can use butter or Crisco or whatever kind of oil that you want for this. Just butter all the sides and everything really, really good. And of course I washed my hands. I know probably some of y'all are thinking, oh my goodness, she's got her hands in that. Well, I washed them. Just matter of fact, I've already done a batch, and I washed my hands whenever I did that batch. But anyway, sorry, I'll get this figured out. I'm trying to be like Brenda Gann or somebody like that, I guess. Let me wash my hand off so I can get that taken care of. Where I got that butter all over me. Anyway, and just kind of watch your pot and make sure that your marshmallows don't burn. And they're starting to get really melty, so I'm going to turn that down to a medium heat now. It doesn't take very long to do this, and all the yumminess that comes out of this is really, really, you'll just enjoy this so very much. Now this pot of marshmallows, I've been doing too much talking instead of stirring, because when you're doing this by yourself and you're not doing this on this little tutorial thing like this, you need to be stirring all the time. I let it get hot, but I keep it really, really stirred. And I wasn't doing that. I was showing you all about the butter into the pan and all that kind of thing. And so this one is going to be toasted Rice Krispie treats. But it'll be fine, because you know, you like, if you like s'mores and that sort of thing, it'll be just like being toasted. So that's okay. And whenever that gets, it says to let it get completely melted, but even though I see 2 or 3 little marshmallows in there that's not quite melted, it starts to kind of bubble, and I don't want it to get too much, I don't want it to get too really hot, because I'm afraid I might ruin it or make it dark like it is now. And so I put the peanut butter in it, and I'll give you a little hint about that peanut butter as I go. On this peanut butter, if you will spray your container with cooking spray or something like that, it'll come out of the container a lot easier. A lot easier. So you put your peanut butter in there and you stir it around, and it's starting to get really, really melted. And that's what you want it to do. Now I'm going to have to pay attention to what I'm doing, because I don't want to, so if I get kind of lost in the translation here, don't think anything about it. But while I did that, you do not want, when you put your peanut butter in there, you do not want to leave it on the burner, because you don't want that to get really, really hot and kind of melt that peanut butter. But you see, and you might not have seen, but anyway, I just poured the Rice Krispies in, and you just kind of stir them around. So, and while I'm stirring, I'll tell you this. In the Rice Krispies, sometimes we like to have a little bit of a Christmassy look to it. So I'll put like some of that green sugar or red sugar, or those little things, those little sprinkle things that you can get in the store that's just so Christmassy cute. You can get those. Just keep stirring, because once, this is just like, I'm going to make some fudge here in just a little bit. Now fudge, you really got to keep your mind on that. So I probably will not do a tutorial on that, because if I get too hung up in that, I'm going to ruin the fudge. And listen, this fudge is to die for, that my mom left me the recipe. We've done every year. You can see that I've got everything melted together really, really good. And I'm going to now turn off the burner. And I'm going to put this in the pan. You want to be very careful. And when you've got little kids around, please watch them over the stove, because you're going to be so tied up with doing all this stuff that you're not going to have a lot of time to look and tell them no and don't touch and all that kind of thing. So, you know, just if your kids aren't trained to be around the stove in the kitchen, then please be careful with them. I want to tell you too that whenever you, before you ever get started, you want to be sure and get you a pan of water running in the sink, because you're going to need to put that pan with all that melted goodness in it. You're going to have to put that in the sink almost immediately, because that is going to be the easiest way for you to get that cleaned up. So what I'm doing now is I'm scraping the pan. I'm going to turn it down so you can see what I'm doing. I apologize for not doing that before. I'm going to scrape all of that goodness off, stick that other in the sink, and this is just a little bit on the warm side, but you don't have to worry about this too much. I just put the spoons back in there. I'm going to take that same, except I'm not going to put it on the burner. I'm going to take that same butter and I'm going to butter my hands up. Now you can do this with a spoon or whatever you want to do, and just kind of mash it down. You can see me. I'm kind of mashing that down. Now you might say, well, that looks really hot, Joe. Well, it is, but you know, don't leave your hands stuck on there. Take it off whenever you can. But anyway, just kind of pat it down and make it conform to the container that you're going to put it in. These oblong casserole dishes are the best, because it does make quite a few of these marshmallow treats. And then whenever I get this done, I'm going to show you what the end result is. You want to pat it, you know, because I don't like to make it so hard that you can't eat it. So I don't pat it down real hard, but I do pat it down to conform it. Now let me wash my hands off real quick. And we're almost done. I wanted to share this with you today, since some of you thought, well, I know that you've been telling me the recipe, but I just don't know what you're doing, Joe. I've got a lady that one of these, I invited her to come over and do help me in the kitchen one day, and she didn't wash dishes as she went. I mean, like I normally do, and all that kind of thing. And so if you're going to have somebody with you, make sure you have a dishwasher. But here is the product. If I can get the camera down kind of where you can see it. Here's I'm still trying to get it focused in. That's where I've pressed the Rice Krispies down. It's so funny. You can hear them kind of snap, crackle, and pop. I'm going to go over here. And what I like to do, let me turn this around. And what I like to do is I like to use these racks like this to let them cool. Now this one's been cooling for a little bit, and I'm getting ready to cut it. So I'm going to move it off, and I'm going to put this one over here that we just completed. And I'm telling you, that is some yummy goodness right there. And so I just wanted to share that with you today. I'm normally a lot cleaner in the kitchen, but you know, when you got the camera back and forth, it's a little harder. I hope that you've enjoyed this and you can see what you need to do. But what you need to do, let me give you those hints. Make sure that you've got cooking spray or something like that in the peanut butter container that you're going to use, so that the peanut butter will slide out easily. Now, I didn't respray this one. This is the second time I've used it, and that's okay. But the first time it just slid right out like you wouldn't believe. And then make sure you've got all of your ingredients on the cabinet. That way you don't have to worry about it. A container for the marshmallows and the Rice Krispies. Your butter is no big deal. You just half a stick of butter. But anyway, I hope that you enjoyed the video. And I hope that you will make some of these. I'll post the recipe online for you. Thanks, guys. Love you.